Alrighty, this is your Project 6 video, and remember that I said I would start asking more and more of you in each subsequent project. So I asked a little bit of you for Project 5, and I am asking a little more in Project 6, but I've given you the logic, all right, and the form. I mean, the form's in the book. This is just a list box. There's a label, another label with a 3D border around it, a calculate button, and an exit button on a form. Very basic stuff. You don't need for me to design this for you. You should already know how to do that by now. So let's go look at the code behind, and let's talk about what the project actually says. If I can find it here. Looks like I turned away from it. Here it is. Create a new application using the following names. You just use Project 6. You don't have to do any of that. And save it wherever you're working. The application's interface is shown below in figure 6-72. Now I'm on page 388. This is exercise 8. And as you can see, mine looks pretty much like theirs. So you didn't even really need this, but I needed to have some code, so I had to have somewhere to put it, so I built it. All right. There's your public class. There's a click event. All right. And there's a clear button event. So that's a click event for the clear button. That's a click event for the calculate button. Notice I have a class level variable, and did that because I wanted to be able to accumulate it. You could actually have put it in here. It really doesn't matter. I did it that way because I'm used to doing that. So that's my running total, right? And let's see what else we have here. I've got two variables declared within the button calculate click event. One is of type string because that's what you're going to be getting back from the input box that they're asking you to use. The calculate button's click event procedure should use a loop in the input function box to get the prices of the candies purchased by each user. The price should be displayed in the list prices control. All right. The procedure should also accumulate the prices. When the user has finished entering the prices for the current order, the procedure should display the accumulated value plus a 5% sales tax in the total due box. That's pretty straightforward, all right? So I'm using a do while loop, but before we get there, every time they hit calculate, you need to wipe out everything that's come before, even if nothing has come before, because you can't assume that they're not going to do more than one run of prices. So here's my comment telling you what to do there. Clear the list, total price label, and the running total from previous run if needed. All right. Now, if you declare this within this calculate button, then it'll automatically clear it every time this ends. So it's up to you. I just did it that way because I wanted to. All right. So clear the list, total price label, and the running total from previous run. So you're going to have about 3 lines of code right there. Here's your do loop. This is a do while loop. And we're going to continue looping while prices does not equal string.empty. All right. In other words, if they hit cancel or they hit OK from the input box and there's no price in there, that's going to return an empty string. And that's what's going to terminate this loop. That means they're finished, right? And we're not doing a lot of data validation here. We're going to assume that they don't use any dollar signs and they put in a valid number as a string. Okay, so here inside the loop, this is what you're going to do. You're going to call the input box and place the return value into a string. Well, there's a string up here somewhere. And it's an assignment, okay? As you can remember from working through the text. All the stuff you've seen, here's add each price to the list box, okay? There's an items collection and an add function for that or method. So every time you make a loop, you're going to add whatever comes from that list box, from the input box into your list box. All right, and it'll just stack them up in there. All right, now you're going to convert each price to a double because the price is what? String. It has to be string in order to get that return back from the input box because it does return a string. So you convert each price to a double and store it in the temp variable. Hint, use double.try_parse. Okay, so you have to convert that. And you're going to store it in temp, which is a double. Then you're going to add temp to the running total every time. That's very simple. All right. All right. So when this finishes, you're going to calculate the total with the sales tax. That's basic math. Okay. You should be able to do that. If you can't just Google it, you might as well get used to doing that anyway, because there's a lot of things I don't know and I have to Google every one of them. Calculate the total with the sales tax, convert it to a string, and display the total price in the label. Format the currency to 2 decimal places, to currency and to 2 decimal places. Now, we've done all of this before, except for the loop. Loop is new, but you've done it in the chapters. All right. So there you go. Good luck. Next thing you'll see is the midterm, I believe.